Welcome to Pike County Update. I'm Dr. James Riley, your host. I'm a professor of English at the University of Pikeville and serve as the Director of Communications for Pike County Government. My guest today is the Magistrate from District 5, Hillman Dotson. It's a pleasure to have you with us, Hillman. Hillman is in his 6th term as a magistrate of Pike County. He has served 22 years in that capacity and a number of other years as an employee of the county, as a road grader, and as a worked on the highways, I believe, as well. It's a pleasure to have you with us here, Hillman. Let me start with a question about your district, District 5. Can you describe it to us and let us know what areas you represent?
James, it's quite a large district. It goes from the West Virginia boundary lines over near Freeburn and Papaw all the way across the county into Coal Run over on Route 23. Then we come back up 23 to Buckley's Creek and we take in up to the school there at Buckley's Creek. But it's quite a large district, and we've been district 3 times since I've been elected. And we just keep moving over closer to the city limits, which we are now there. And
so District 5 covers Phelps, Johns Creek, McCarr, Kemper.
And we got all of the Papaw stopover area, and we got all of Blackberry up to top of the Hardy Mountain there.
Okay.
And then we got all of Johns Creek. And then we even go down to Joe's Creek and across the mountain. So, and Wind Springs, we've got all them roads in District 5.
Right, so you have a couple hundred miles of roads in your district, don't you?
Probably do, James. Probably close 400 roads, and we got 6 men and a foreman to take care of all them roads.
Okay, that'd be a good place for us to start, Hillman. Let's talk about your equipment. Winter's coming on. We're getting ready to prepare those roads so people can get through them. How's your equipment looking? What kind of needs do you have?
We have decent equipment. We have some new trucks that we bought to use the salt and plow the roads, and we have some old trucks. We had to replace a few of them because the salt had ate them up, and we didn't have the ability to fix them. They were just too far gone. So we have all our trucks ready to go for the winter, and we are fortunate we've not had any bad weather this year. We had a little bit of snow a couple days ago, which we were able to take care of, and we're really satisfied with the weather we've had this year.
Okay, good. We'll move from equipment then to the garage over in Phelps. I know you've had some problems with that garage. We have some footage of it here so people can see it. There was a lot of talk about that garage when it was built. Problems, I think, with the bidding of the structure and things like that. I thought you might want to address some of those issues.
James, we were having quite a bit of problem with our neighbors where we were at our old garage, which we've got some pictures here of it, and we were in court over dust and noise. So we were looking for a place to move, and it's hard to find a good place to put a road garage. But we got lucky. A coal company donated us the property where the garage is located there at Phelps on Route 632, about 2 miles out of Phelps. And, it's close to the Johns Creek area too. And we were able to put together a package. We didn't have any money to build this garage with, so we had $100,000 to start with. And I met with Summit Engineering and talked with them about we need to build a garage and we want to build a garage. And I told him the size we needed it and what we was wanting to do. And he said, well, you got to have a construction supervisor if you build this garage. And you got to have the state's permission to build it. And you got to let us draw you up a plan on what you're wanting to do. And he said, this is all going to be a lot of money. And I said, well, all we need is 100 by 60 garage, for our equipment and our men to report to work. And we don't need no engineer to tell us what we need, and we don't have the money to do that. So he said, well, I'll go ahead. We're on a retainer. This was Jack Sykes with Summit. And
Right.
he said, I'll send to Frankfurt and get you permits and get you started on this. So Jack done that, and it was a reasonable price what we had to pay. So we had about $90,000 after we paid our engineers for their work they done on our permits. So we had got together with the magistrate and the judge and told them what we wanted. And what happened was we were able to dig the footers for the building after we got our permits. And we hired a contractor to come in and do the cement work, around the perimeter where it was going to be built. And that was, we paid for the cement and we paid his labor, which was under $20,000.
Right.
So the next step was, after we got that done, we had to do the block. So the county ordered the block, and we hired the labor again to lay the block. And, we had to stay within that $90,000 money. And the reason we didn't bid the whole project out is we didn't have $300,000 or $400,000 to bid it out at. So we had to do it in phases. And after that money was gone, the next year, we were able to get some more money, some co-severance money, to use on that building. And we just kept going until we got it built. And it took probably, I'm going to say, 3 or 4 years to get this building built. But we have one of the finest facilities, which you'll see in the county or in the state for a maintenance garage.
Right.
And the men can pull their equipment in and work on it. And in the evening times when it's snowing, they can load their trucks up and leave them there that night and get
Right.
ready to start work. And you can see some of the old equipment that we had when I started working over there for the county. We didn't have any snow plows or didn't have any salt spreaders. All we had was a drag that we had made out of wood, and you hooked it behind the old truck, you'll see, and we would raise the bed and drag the snow and clean it up. And then we didn't have salt, so we'd use sawdust to put on the. Most of the roads were gravel and dirt, and we would have to put sawdust, couldn't put anything else on them, and get the people in and out. So we've came a long way from when I started to now, and we have an awful good crew of people to work with.
Right. Okay. I understand you've done some renovating to your courthouse in Phelps as well.
When I came on board about 22 years ago, James, the courthouse was a senior citizen center, courthouse, clerk's office, and it was chopped up pretty bad. Had rooms that we didn't need after the senior citizen centers were built. We were able to renovate the courthouse and turn it into a building that the public can use.
Right.
We opened it up, took out some partitions, and built some offices there, and put windows in it, and siding, and I think it's a nice courthouse for the people, and I feel like it. I've done the best I could do with it because I'm just a caretaker for that building, and
Right.
and I think it looks a lot better now than it did.
We have some footage of it that people
Yes.
will see, so they'll probably agree with that. Okay, I want to switch the discussion now, and we'll go on to current situation. We'll begin with the budget problems that the county's been having. Everybody's been talking about it. What's your position on where the county budget is right now, how we got to this position, and where we might go from here?
Well, James, ever since the coal severance money started dropping off and our minerals monies, we've had a budget situation for the last several years. And it seems like every year that we deal with it, it don't get any better. So, last year we had to implement the occupational tax, which nobody likes. I've been against it for 20-some years, but it come to the point to where we were either going to have to do away with a lot of our business things that we do for the counties as far as our solid waste program and our senior citizens program, our our jails, our sheriff's departments. They were all suffering for money, our clerk's offices and things. And we implemented the taxes hoping that it would generate the amount of money that we thought it would bring in, but it's not there, but I think it's about 90%,
Right.
what I've been told of what we projected.
Right.
And, it has kind of helped us keep the wheels turning and keep them moving. And I feel like there's still going to be some more cuts that we're going to have to look at. We have parked the vehicles. That is in the motion. And mine that I drive has been parked for probably a year and a half, 2 years now, ever since we started having the budget crisis. I leave it at the courthouse or at the road lot, and the men use it, or if I need to go to a meeting or something, I'll get it and use it, and then I'll get out in the winter and help them plow snow with that truck. So
Right.
we got a plow and everything on it. But I think our budget is going to be okay. I think we've got some things. We've got a meeting next Wednesday at 10. It's open to the public. If people want to come and help us have input, then we're willing to sit down and listen and try to do what we can to get this thing in compliance.
Right. Well, there's been a lot of criticism in that regard, as you know. You take the brunt of it, I think, sometimes because maybe you're the most outspoken member of the court. Criticism of the occupational tax, criticism of the magistrates in general for the job they've done over the past few years. I know I've seen some of the numbers. 4 years ago, I believe it was, the county government had an $8 million budget. That now, because of the coal severance, has been reduced to $4 million. So right out of the gate, you guys have lost half of your operating budget. If the coal severance makes up 90% of that, then the cuts that come out of the county budget, I'm assuming that's what you guys will be discussing next week. What kind of ideas do you have? What I'm referring to here, Hillman, are all this talk we have of the perks that the magistrates get and the money that's wasted by the county government. I'd like to hear your opinion of where we are in that regard.
James, I hear about the perks probably more than anybody because, I am a magistrate that try to take care of the county business. And, that's what we're hard to do is manage the county's budget and their business. People don't understand the size county that we have is like a judge in another county down the road there. They don't make decisions that we as a magistrate normally have to make because we're isolated out in the county to where if people call and they need something at night or whatever, then we need to do what we have to take care of it because we're public servants.
Right.
But, we hear about the perks all the time, and one thing they keep perking about is the secretaries. They have a problem for some reason of a secretary being at the courthouse, taking telephone calls and answering the complaints. And, these perks are not a magistrate's perk. A secretary is more beneficial to the public than it is me because they relay to me the problems that the public have, and then I relay it on to the county judge and the road commissioner. And the secretaries take a beating over that, and they're the lowest paid person in the county, and they do a tremendous job. My secretary is there to assist anybody. They come in, they need a paper notarized or whatever. She don't charge them anything. She goes ahead and helps them or makes a telephone call for them. And these are public perks that they're talking about.
Right.
And then another perk they talk about all the time is the vehicles, that we have a county vehicle to ride at our pleasure. I've parked the county vehicle when we started having these problems at the courthouse, like I said a while ago, and it sits there until I need it on business. I don't use it for a personal vehicle. And,
right.
Another perk they talk about is credit cards. We don't have credit cards. You know, everything we get goes to a purchasing department if we order something, and we never see no money, or we don't have credit cards.
Right.
And you know, I think our salaries are, you know, that's the only job I have, and it's probably about like a working person. It's around 48,000 a
Right.
year. But we could make more, you know, if we want to set our salaries. I think we can make up to close 70.
Right.
But we haven't chosen to raise our salary.
Right. Well, it's going to be hard to be in government and not be criticized for things. I think you've been at it long enough. You're probably used to that situation.
Well, James, you know, they pay me to let people talk about me.
That's part of the job, isn't it?
Yeah, that's part of the job, and I understand it. And, you know, I pray for them sometimes they'll not have that ill feelings. And a lot of, when you're in politics, you have a lot of repercussions from politics, Democrat, Republican, or whatever, or somebody that wants to be there,
Right.
and they're not. And, you know, we have some of the people that put things in the newspaper each week criticizing our perks and everything. And on the other hand, they were the ones that were doing a lot of this back years ago until their money got cut off.
Right.
And one of them was Charles Monk Sanders. You know, he writes an article every week.
I see an article from Monk pretty regularly.
Every week about the magistrates' salaries and their perks. And, you know, I remember when he used to get money from the code servants for help and hope and different agencies that he had named. And, you know, I didn't hear anything about wasteful spending then.
Right.
And we got a letter here the other day from DLG, and see, these monies that he got were pass-through monies, and they come through the court, but we wrote them a check, and they wanting to know where these monies were spent. That's
Right.
the Department of Local Government in Frankfurt. So Lisa is putting together some things to send them and try to explain, you know, what our part was on giving the money and letting them distribute it. And now I guess they'll have to find out where. I know there's been several buildings built, several vans bought.
Right.
And they ride them, you know, they're Kentucky Hope and all that on the van. But, you know, if you live in a glass house, you better be careful about throwing rocks.
Right. Well, I know you've invited several of your critics to come to the court and address the court directly. Has that happened?
Not yet. But, you know, we encourage them to come and talk and let the people hear what the problems are. You know, if we're guilty of robbing or stealing or corruption, bring it out, get rid of us. You know, we're only human,
Right.
and we're going to make mistakes each day.
Well, you've represented the people in Phelps for a number of years, and they keep re-electing you. You must be doing something right over there, I'm assuming.
Well, I try to be fair to everybody, James. When they come in the courthouse, I don't ask them how they're elected. I ask them what can I do to help them.
Right.
And, you know, politics has got nothing to do with our job because I've got real good friends that are Republicans and Democrats. So, you know, I try to represent everybody as far as I can. And we have a big table at the courthouse. Anybody wants to come in and have a cup of coffee and sit down and we'll talk about things. And we often have people come in off the street and sit and drink a cup of coffee. And sometimes we might make them a biscuit or a little breakfast, you know, feed them. And we've been known to do things like that because that's their building and I'm just working for them.
Right. Right. Okay. Let's move to a more positive part of the discussion here, the things that you do that are positive for the people. I'd like to start with your Senior Citizen Center. These are very needed in our county and used by the public. Why don't you talk about the Senior Citizen Center over at Phelps a little bit? We have some footage of that building.
Okay, James, you know, we have 3 Senior Citizen Centers in District 5.
Okay.
And when I got elected, we didn't have, had one that met in the Phelps Courthouse.
Right.
In the back of it. So Donna Dameron was elected judge, and she said we need to build a building over there for our seniors and our children, call it a multi-purpose building. So we were able to county owned some property at Freeburn and Johnson Bottom Park. And we were able to put a nice center down there. And it was used for seniors and a daycare. The daycare didn't pan out too good. We had to eventually lose it, but it was turned into a complete senior citizen center. So we've got that. And we had people from Blackberry that came over to the center at Freeburn, and they were wanting to start a senior citizen in the Blackberry, McCarr area. So Paul Patton was governor then, and he asked us, he said, what can I do up there to help you people? So I told him that we needed $100,000 to build a senior citizen center in Blackberry. So we were able to use the lumber off of that property, take it to a mill, and have it sawed and build a beautiful senior citizen center in Blackberry that is probably top of the line. And you know, the people were able to use that building after we got it built. And then the last one we built was over at Kemper. You know, Kemper was way behind on what they needed. They'd been years trying to get a senior citizen or a community building. So the county and the school got together, and the school let us build the senior citizen center there at Kemper. And we put a gymnasium connecting up to it, and we have a multi-purpose building there. You know, the seniors love it. It's a beautiful building. The school board utilizes it for ball games, and it's probably one of the prettiest gyms that you'd ever want to see. But you know, that are the three buildings that we were able to build for our seniors. But we have other community buildings out in the county that communities are able to gather up and use. We got a nice one down at Joe's Creek there. It could be a senior citizen center, and they're thinking about trying to turn it into one. But you know, I have seen a lot of things happen in the last 22 years, and I got criticized for spending coal severance money on these buildings. But James, what most could a coal miner see the use of taking his kids to a nice park or a community center or a gym to play ball in? That is money that this coal miner has worked hard and paid in, and we're getting the benefits of the coal severance money to use for these people that's really deserved and made this thing possible.
Right, right. And benefits that'll continue on after the coal severance, as we know, may not last forever, right?
But I think, you know, that if we look at the picture as a whole, Pike County been left out for many years. And, you know, what's good for Lexington or Louisville or Frankfort is good for Pike County. And I think we still got a lot of catching up to do. And that's what I believe that has caused a lot of the friction and the problem. You know, we have done the best we could, and the city has got part of that money, which I think the city is one of the most beautiful little cities that I can be a part of. And I look at it every day, and they're building and growing. And I say, let the city get what they need to work with. And I'm not against the city getting their part of the coal severance, but I think the county needs part of it too. And you know, I think, need to start having quarterly meetings with our commissioners in the city, the fiscal court, and see what direction we are wanting to go in and work as a unit. And you know, we've not had that communication in years.
Right.
And I think we're lacking a lot of that. And I feel like if the county and the city is going to grow, we've got to work together.
I think that's improved a little since Judge Deskins has taken the county. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, it has. We've had a meeting or so and talked, and you know, Donovan Blackburn, he's met with us, and he's trying to promote tourism and things in the county, and that's what we're trying to do.
That's a good segue to where I want to go, Hillman. I know that tourism is a lot of talk about what might help Pike County in its current economic situation, and that leads me to a discussion of the trail systems that they're trying to get started in the county. I know just recently they've opened several county roads that are going to be a part of the new trail system, the CCC road from your district. With the trailhead, I believe, at Hatfield-McCoy Park, we have a map here of where that trail will be. And I know it's just the beginning, but why don't you talk a little bit about where we are and where you guys would like to get to?
Well, you know, James, we've been trying for years to come up with property to put a trail on. And it's been hard because people are kind of afraid to just turn people loose on their property. But we are working with Joe Freeman, which Joe brought to our attention, a CCC trail, which was built back probably in the 40s.
Right.
And it was built to fight fires. And the CCC, you know, they built several buildings in the county through the Roosevelt administration. And we have ridden this trail, and it will tie into the Blackberry trailhead over at Hatfield-McCoy Park later on. But right now we have got these roads that we just had a meeting Tuesday and adopted them into the county road system to start our trail system. And it will start on the map here starts up on top of Pawpaw Mountain, and it goes toward the Virginia line, and it takes you up to the state line there in Virginia and Kentucky. And it'll make a loop around, and it will be a starting place, and we want to tie all the other trails into this one. But we feel like, I have a dream that this could be an answer for a lot of our small communities that are needing business. I think, you know, we can have the restaurants and the motels and lodging for the cabins maybe, and it will help generate money, and we can bring people in and show them what we have to offer. You know, we also have a river trail we're working on, and that will go from Virginia down into Louisiana.
Right.
And you know, these things together will really benefit Pike County.
How many miles, this is a four-wheeler trail we're talking about here, how many miles will the loop entail when it's complete?
James, I would say around 45 miles right now.
45.
Yeah, and you know, we have other properties that Judge Rutherford had talked about up at Middlefield and places to put a trail system. And you know, this right now is already trails that they can ride. We ride them every chance we get. And we have a meeting Thursday of next week at the Phelps Courthouse for anybody that wants to come and take part in these meetings. It'll start about 7 in the evening, and it's trails that will entail horses. We have plans of having our horse people to take part of these trails, and our river trails. You know, we invite all of them. And I think if we're going to grow, we need to work as a.
And when was that meeting planned for?
It's next Thursday at 7 o'clock at the Pikeville Courthouse. I think it might be on the 14th.
14th, I believe that's.
I think so.
Okay. Hillman, we appreciate you taking time to come down and talk to us and give us your perspective on things. We appreciate your service for the county, and I think we're glad to meet you, sir.
Well, you know, James, I'm glad to be here. And my home phone number is 606-456-7194. And people call me when they have a problem. Or my courthouse number is 606-456-7146. And I'm also going to give them my cell phone number, as long as I have it. But you know,
you have the perk, use it.
I'll surrender it, you know, whenever we need that we can see that we need to. But it's 606-456-7146.
Okay, Hillman, we appreciate it. We've been visiting with Hillman Dotson. He is the magistrate from District 5, 22 years of service. This has been Pike County Update, and we appreciate you joining us.